So I don't have any fancy intros for this. I don't have any fancy editing for this. This is just going to be me talking to the camera for however long this video is. I just want to address why I'm so anti-corporate, kind of, I don't want to work for somebody, and why I'm very bullheaded. I've addressed this in bits and pieces, but I didn't ever go into like the real nitty-gritty details of why. Yeah, are you salty, Josh? Absolutely. I am salty, and it keeps me motivated. If you want to be honest, I am salty, and I will never trust a company again. First of all, let me say this is not a sob story. I don't want any sympathy. Please don't feel sorry for me. I just want to explain why I am the way that I am. I can't say that without thinking about The Office. Toby, why are you the way that you are? So to put this in perspective, like fully in perspective, I just want to start off with my dad, like the nitty-gritty with my dad. My dad is an engineer. He worked for one company for 25 years and then got let go. He put in his dues. He put in 25 years of his dues for one company to get let go due to downsizing and not wanting to charge 3,000% on parts after he hadn't been doing that for 25 years. So they were like, you know what, we don't have a need for you as a resource anymore. Naturally, my dad takes his retirement savings, everything he's saved up for those 25 years, and he makes his own business. So that's the only thing he knows how to do, is that one skill. That's what he did his whole life. The company that let him go sued him. They sued him because he signed a non-compete clause in 1990, the year that I was born. He was 27 years old. He was 1 year younger than I am right now when he signed a non-compete that would only come back and haunt him at the age of 52. And not only haunt him, it would allow them to sue him into the ground. They took the house that I grew up in. They took the boat that he saved his whole life for. They took everything. I went back and I visited the house there that I grew up in, and there was another family there, and that was really hard to take in, to see another family living in the house. And you go back and you're like, this is my shed, this is my backyard, this is my zip line from tree to tree. I built this. That hole in the corner over there, I dug that when I was like 12. I was making an airsoft bunker. Like, it was really difficult to see someone else living in the house that you grew up in, and you didn't get to say bye, you didn't get to say nothing. It was just taken from you and taken from them. Basically became homeless, and he had to move in with my aunt. If you think about it like this, if I were to live my whole life over again right now, that would be my dad's entire work life. Living my entire life over from the age of 28 right now for another 25 years would be my dad's entire adult life to where he is right now. Having a kid, watching that kid grow up, putting in his dues for this company, giving this company his everything, his loyalty. For what? To live in a basement? To live in a basement? To lose everything that he worked for that he could supposedly retire on? There is no company loyalty. You might be loyal to them, but they're never loyal to you. You know that feeling, oh, if it doesn't work out, I can always just go back home and live with mom and dad. That doesn't exist for me. That is not a reality for me. I can't just go back home and live with mom and dad if it doesn't work out. I don't have that option. All of this happened when I had my mechanical engineering job. All of this, I was still a good employee. I was still doing good work. I just wanted to make it. I just wanted to be a nice, a good performer for the year and get my raise and get promoted. And I wasn't thinking long term. I didn't have that kind of attitude. I just wanted to do my hours and go home and play Halo 5 and Overwatch or whatever else. I was just a good employee, and I wasn't there yet. I wasn't there mentally of where I am right now. When I found out about all this, I called up my parents. I was like, hey, look, I can take care of you. I can handle this. I still have an engineering job, and here's everything I have. It was like $4,000. Everything I saved that wasn't my rent or just like food. Here's everything I have in my bank account. Mom and dad, I don't want you guys to live in my aunt's basement because that's like, here, take it. Move to Utah. Take my apartment. It's fine. They couldn't get an apartment because if you get evicted, which they did, that goes on your record for 7 years. So even if you get back up on your feet, even if you get a job, even if you get money, no apartment will ever give you a rental agreement because they'll look at your record and they'll see that you got evicted. And to them, that just looks like you didn't pay. It doesn't look like you fell on hard times. It doesn't look like any of that. It just looks like you straight didn't want to pay. You're just out to get them. So for the next 7 years, even if you can get back up on your feet, you can't. I had to give them my apartment because of that. They couldn't. There's no way that they would ever be able to apply and get one. When they moved here, I was sure that I could get him a job at my company. I was like super happy to be there. I thought my job was awesome. I thought my job in particular, my engineering job, was perfect for my dad. And so I set him up. I got my boss to set him up with an interview. And he did the interview, and they asked him questions that I couldn't even answer. You know what they asked me when I got the job? They're like, what do you like to do? Do you like to work on cars and stuff outside of school? And I was like, yeah. No, but I knew that's what they wanted to hear. They were asking my dad things that you couldn't know unless you worked in the industry. NDA, special intellectual property type questions. I'm like, there's no way that you can answer these questions, Dad, because like, I didn't know they were going to ask you this. I was only preparing you things that they asked me, and they end up asking him like he had already been working there for 3 years. So he didn't do good in that interview. I think he failed it. So I was like, can you set him up with another interview? Because like, there's no way. And my boss was like, yeah, sure. So he had a second interview, and it was some power-tripping 33-year-old guy that was like, look, Mike, I don't trust you with my multi-million-dollar tools. And it's like, first of all, they're not your multi-million-dollar tools, guy. And second of all, my dad has been doing this like literally twice as long as you've been alive. And my dad's like, yeah, but I can learn it. I can show you what I can do. Just let me come in. Let me take a look at what you're doing here. Let's just, let's have it. No, I'm sorry. I don't trust you with my multi-million. Like, no reasoning, nothing, just that. And so he didn't get the job. And that right there was the first ding of my corporate confidence in corporations and working for someone. I was like, that kind of sucks. Why would they do that? These are the same HR people that are like, ageism in the industry is bad. We should stop ageism. But they're the same people making up bullshit excuses to not hire my dad when he's more qualified to do my job than I was at the time. I remember working that job and going out to lunch. We had to badge in and we had to badge out. And at lunch, they had an area where you could go outside. And it was barred in by these black gardening kind of fence bars. So you could go outside, but you couldn't actually leave. And I remember looking through the bars one time into the mountains thinking, this is like jail. I can't even leave right now. There's no door. I'm outside, but I can't leave. This is going to be my life for the next 25 years. And I would like call up my mom and be like, I can't do this. She'd be like, but it's a great job, honey. And she'd try to like support me, and I'd be like, I can't, this is not for me. And she'd be like, but you make so much money and you have nice benefits and it's safe, comfortable, and you can live a good life. And I'm like, but I'm miserable. I got my first full-time PHP job, and while we were working one day, one of the devs noticed that there was a job opening for the same position that I had, which we thought was kind of weird, because we were all wondering where he was gonna sit. The room that we worked in was probably as big as the room that I'm in right now, except with 3 people, with 3 desks, and all of us had 3 monitors. So where are you gonna fit a 4th person in here? I came in early, I stayed late, 12-hour days, 13-hour days, just like you see in these day of the life videos. I worked hard because it was my first job as a dev, and I wanted to impress people. I wanted that 1 day a week remote. Every Wednesday, the company got to work remote, but not us devs because we were new and we had to get trained up. But it was okay for the boss to be late on Wednesdays or whatever days, but then he'd get mad at you if you were slow on a task that he gave you. But if you went to him to ask for help, he would close the door and say, I'm busy. I can't right now, come back later. And then you go back to your desk and you continue to be stuck. And I go back later, hey, you got time? I can't right now, and then close the door again. And then he'd get mad, be like, why is this taking you so long? One time he said to me, word for word, I think this task should have taken you a lot less time than what it did, and to be honest, I'm really disappointed in your performance. This was after like a month of being there. And I remember thinking, you are an absolute dickhole. You're an asshole. Fuck you. Why would you ever say that to someone? This is not constructive feedback. But that was the only job I had, and I took it to heart, and I was like, you know what? I gotta do better. I gotta be better. And I was already working a second job. I already had a second job working after my main job that I would go to learn more code. I would work, I would show up early, I would stay late, then I would leave and I would go to my second job and stay even later. Then I would ride my bicycle home at like 11:30 at night. And he told me I wasn't working hard enough. Are you kidding me? The posting that we found earlier had been filled because it was removed from online. We all went to go do our one-on-one walks with the boss. And typically, what I was just talking about, where he said he was disappointed in my performance, we would go walk around the block one time. When it was my turn, I was last. I didn't go around the block. I got up, walked across the dev office into the founder's room. They sat me down and said, Josh, it's not working out. You want to know why, people? It was because they found someone that would do my job for my salary that had way more experience. So I negotiated $50,000 for my first job salary, no experience. They found some guy with like 3 years experience. that was willing to do it for $50,000. So they said, hey, you know what? This guy's a better deal. And that struck me right there. A better deal? I'm a deal? What, they're getting a deal on me? I'm a product? And that was kind of a ding to me, like, interesting. So some guy is willing to do what I'm doing for cheaper and more efficiently, apparently on paper. I don't know, I wasn't there to actually find out. And as I walked back to get my shit, I remember asking, can I say goodbye to my friend, like my coworker? Well, at least I thought he was my friend, but he was just a coworker. He wasn't a friend. He was a wannabe coworker friend. He was a pretend to be, we'll hang out after we don't work here anymore friend, but that never happened. And I said, can I say goodbye to him at least? And they said, no, just get your stuff, you need to leave. Like, get your stuff, you need to leave? Like I was getting kicked out of a club or getting kicked out of a store or something. You need to leave. What do you think I'm gonna do? Do you think I'm just gonna run around the office and yell and scream and be like, do you think I'm gonna have a scene or something right now? And you just want me to get me out so this doesn't happen? Because all I wanted to do was say goodbye to what I thought was my friend. And 2 weeks later after that, he's like, hey man, are you okay? We'll still go play airsoft and hang out, play paintball and video games, don't worry. And that was the last time I ever heard from him. So, fuck fake people. Your coworkers are not your friends. Occasionally they can be, but I'd say more often than not, their coworkers are not people that you would go hang out with unless you were already friends and you got them a job there, or you get lucky and you find someone that's super cool. But occasionally you'll go get a drink with them after work to talk about work. And I don't want to do that. I've been working all day. I don't want to talk about this anymore. This is not benefiting me. I'm not the CEO. After that, I left. I got my stuff. I got on my bicycle and I rode to my part-time job because at least I still had that. I wasn't in dire straits yet. I roll into the part-time job and they're like, dude, what's up? Why are you here so early? I'm like, yeah, they just let me go. And they're like, what? Really? I'm like, yeah, I have no idea why. I think it's because they found someone else to do my job. We saw a job posting. And they're like, wow, that really sucks. And I remember one guy, his name was Justin. Shout out to you, Justin. You probably don't remember me, but he said to me, Josh, this is something that it sucks really bad right now. It's just terrible. This is the worst thing that could happen. And I understand what you're going through, but in 5 years from now, you'll be laughing at it. You'll be looking back and you'll be in such a better place, it won't even matter. Justin, you're right. So I will never forget you saying that to me. I appreciate you. I made like $1,200 a month for my startup. So I had some savings, whatever. It's enough time, enough padding for me to find another job. And then the business model of the startup that I worked at changed. And it was no longer viable. And they weren't going to get any more money from their investors. And they were just a couple months away from getting another round of funding, more money from the investors, just a couple months away. And then everything changed. Hit the fan, They had to squeeze everything. They had to stop all spending on everything that didn't really matter. And you know what didn't matter? Me. Hey Josh, I think our time has come to an end here. Please give me your laptop. Alright, this kind of sucks. But whatever, here you go, it's fine. I have another job lined up anyways. It's probably good that I don't work 2 jobs this time, because last time I got in trouble with my boss for working 2 jobs. So it's fine, I'll just focus on this one job, and I'll just get really good at one thing for once, instead of trying to just work a lot. And that was my remote job. It was a remote React position. I made $65,000 a year. It was awesome. Work in your underwear, show up to stand up, play a WoW, take some breaks, do some tickets, do whatever. Really kind of hands-off, super chill job. And then one day, the entire dev team was let go. The CEO decided that his salary and his company profits were more important than us. We didn't get severance. We didn't get notice. We had no idea that this was coming. We stayed up the night before working until 3 a.m. You've probably heard this story before. Literally, we stayed up on a Google Hangout, all 6, 7, or 8 of us there, just taking turns, changing the music while we did QA on all of the different features that we were trying to make sure worked by the launch. We woke up, CTO said, hey guys, we got a meeting. All right, hop in the meeting. You have 5 minutes to exchange contact information. I'm removing your GitHub information and I'm closing down the Slack. Wait, what? Someone else decided that his livelihood was worth more than my livelihood. That's when shit got scary. That's when I realized I was expendable. This has already happened a couple times already, but I didn't really think about it like that because the circumstances didn't really put me into this, struggle that I talk about. I always kind of had a buffer of some sort. But this time I didn't. This time I didn't have a backup because I wanted to focus and I wanted to get real good at doing one thing. So I put everything else on hold. This was the part where I tried to do YouTube for full time. Go back and watch my vlogs. Super bad vlogs. I thought I was going to be able to do it, and I wanted to do YouTube so bad, so fucking bad. I wanted to be a YouTuber. I love making content. I love doing this shit. 8 months went by, and I couldn't get a job. Couldn't get a job. So I'm paying my parents' rent, because that's in my name, because they couldn't get one, right? Because they're evicted status. And I'm paying the one up here in Salt Lake City where I live now. I did everything in this life that you are supposed to do. I get a non-bullshit degree, mechanical engineering. I learned tech skills. I can program. I can build websites. I can do things. I have skills. I can provide value. No one cared. All I wanted was the opportunity to work. And I applied for hundreds and hundreds of jobs. And I did hundreds of interviews. And I'd get to 7, 8, 9 stage. Sorry, Josh. No. I got car notes coming due. I got rent coming due. I got my parents' rent coming due. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Josh? You can't pay your parents' rent. Now they're going to get evicted, but that's on your name, so you're going to be evicted from your parents being evicted. And then you can't pay the rent where you're staying at right now, so you're about to have 2 evictions. And then they're going to come tow your car, so you're not even going to be able to get to any of these jobs that you're applying for to go to these interviews. What are you going to do, Josh? What are you going to do? Even if I did happen to find a job and I got 2 evictions on my name, and they repo my car, how are you supposed to bounce back from that? My record has gone to shit if that happens. It is absolutely not my fault. It is not that I don't want to work. It is not that I am lazy. It is not that I don't hustle. So here I am looking at my bank account just going down and going down and going down. And this is the part where you've heard me say I had $300 left in my bank account. You know, it wasn't a good place. It wasn't a good place. You know what I mean? I was preparing myself to be out on the street. It was bad. When something like this happens to you, you just move back in with your parents, right? But I can't move back in with my parents because I'm paying for my parents' rent. They just make enough money working at these menial fast food places to buy food and pay their little bills, you know? The fast food places don't want to give them 40 hours because they don't have to pay benefits. So I help them. Interview after interview, it always came down to somebody else gets to decide. Somebody else holds that power of if I'm going to be able to pay my rent or not. Someone else gets to decide if my car is going to get repoed. Someone else gets to decide if I'm going to have 2 evictions for 7 years on my record. Does that stack to 14 years? I don't actually know. But someone else gets to decide, and that's not up to me. I'll put that power into the hands of some random company that gets to decide what my life is worth. And all they had to do was say, here's an offer, Josh. And they did eventually. That was the last job that I had. I got so lucky, and I am infinitely grateful that it panned out that way. And as much as I am grateful for it, I do not feel guilty about leaving it. You know why I say do what you can in these interviews? You know why I say do things that stand out? You know why I say put 2 years when you only have 1 year? It's because you're expendable. They don't care about you. You are a profit margin decrease to the company. If you work an extra 40 hours a week, you know what you did? You bought the CEO a new yacht. You know what you're going to get? A $15 Olive Garden gift card, a pat on the back, and a thanks for being part of the company family. Everyone's like, Josh, you always tell people to stretch the truth and omit things. You need to be honest with the company that you're applying to and tell them everything about you. And I just don't think that's the case. For example, do you think it's fair that I get penalized for a job gap that I have no control over? It's not that I didn't want to work. It's not that I couldn't work. It's that someone else decided that they didn't want me to work for them. So, by no fault of my own, my job gap from software job to software job increases. Not my choice. I didn't purposely be I didn't want to work, I'm unemployable. And I'm going to get penalized for that by the company looking at that and saying, oh, he's probably just unemployable because this gap here, because they're going to ask about it. If you acknowledge that it's there, you're done. So, what I do is I always make whatever month it is I'm applying to the job. If I don't have one, it says I'm still working at my last company. And I don't care. Because if I put, oh, my last job was 8 months ago, they're going to look at that. They're going to take my resume and my application, my cover letter, and they're going to put that shit in the trash. Oh, there's background checks, Josh. Background checks check things like criminal history and stuff like that. Well, they're going to call your previous job. Don't give them the phone number to your previous job. Give them the phone number to your friend and say it's your manager and have your manager vouch for you. Your manager. You know? I'm aware that these rules are dumb, but I'm not gonna get the time of day from them to discuss the change. You know, they just want to hire somebody, and that's fine. I get it. So I'm gonna put what you want to hear, so I can get to this interview, so I can get some money, so I can pay my goddamn bills. If you think that like I'm being dishonest or omitting things or being kind of shady, next time you go to an interview, ask them this question. So you're offering me a salary of $50,000. How much money in profit am I making you? See if they tell you. See if they don't omit that shit. Are you making $200,000 off of me, but you're paying me $50,000? What is the profit margin on this project that you're hiring me on for? Is this project $3 million and you're paying me $50,000 and the other devs $100,000? You're still making a lot of profit there. What's the budget here? Is it fair that they get to know all the information about you and your financial situation, but you don't get to know anything about their financial situation? Is that fair? Is that not shady? Is that not dishonest? Is that not well, it sure as hell isn't transparent. They know everything about you, but you can't ask a single question about them and their financial situation, but they can decide what you're worth. How much are you taking home, Mr. CEO? How much money are you taking home at the end of the day? And yes, I know you started the company and you were here and people started coming and they just started cashing checks. I get that. And then I get sometimes you're an investment and they have to train you and they have to spend money before you generate them money. But at the end of the day, you're going to be generating them more money than they're paying you. As you can remember from the first example, they got a better deal on someone. But the point is, you are expendable. You are a profit margin decrease. There is no job security. There is no company loyalty. There is only job skill security and your ability to sell yourself in the interview. Doesn't matter what projects you have. I'm sure they help, but your ability to sell yourself and be charismatic and say, yes, I can do this. Hold on, let's talk about this. If you're going to say no anyways, then might as well, let's talk. If you don't do it yourself, your life will be held in the hand of somebody else. And you can hope and pray that if you take that job, it works out for the next 40 years and you retire at 65. Or you end up like my dad, giving 25 years of his life to a company that took everything that he ever earned. And now no one will hire him because he's got a 4-year job gap. I decided no more. I made a promise to myself that I would only work for someone else at that point in time until I could quit. And that's what I did. I don't trust anyone. I saw it happen to my dad. It has happened to me. I didn't want to believe it. Do you think that I grew up wanting to be an entrepreneur and doing this myself? No, I wanted to grow up and I wanted to get a regular job and do my time and get to my golden years, my golden wheelchair where I can't even do anything because I've been sitting down at an engineering job for 40 years and now my back's all messed up. Anyways, I was pushed into this situation and now I wouldn't have it any other way. I would not do it any other way now because I know what it is. I've seen it. Like the veil has been lifted. I understand where you're at. Oh, Josh, you're just negative and you're just salty and you're just mad. And you know what I am? And that's what keeps me motivated every single day to get up and make videos, because if I don't make these videos and I don't perform, I don't get paid. Hey, but that doesn't mean it's in the hands of somebody else. That's in my hands. I control my life. I will not work under you. I will not work for you. I will only be your equal, man to man, CEO to CEO, entrepreneur to entrepreneur. If we sit at a table and you have a business doing billions in revenue and I have a business doing a few thousand, great. But on an entrepreneurial level, we are equal. I am not under you. You don't get to tell me what to do or else, or threaten me with disciplinary action, or, we're gonna have to go with termination and then whatever else. Try it. That's already happened to me. You can't do it. I've already experienced that. I've already done it. Cool. And that right there is the most confidence boosting thing that I've ever experienced in my whole life up until this point. These 28 years, 29 years I've been on this planet. The most confidence boosting thing I have gained is realizing that I don't need anybody else but myself to put food on the table and money in my bank account. I don't need your job. I don't need your projects. I don't need you. I know that sounds really selfish. I know that sounds like I'm antisocial and I don't like people. I just don't like corporations and I don't like businesses that treat people like they're expendable resources. If you ever get called a resource at your job, I would almost say walk out. You are not a resource. You are a human. You deserve to be respected as such. If someone's calling you a resource, you are a itemized thing on their bottom line. And they've just acknowledged that without really saying it. Waking up knowing that I don't have to depend on you to accept me for your job, or for you to tell me what I'm worth in terms of dollar value. You give me $50,000, you're telling me I'm worth $25 an hour. That's it. 60 minutes of my life is only valued at $25 an hour to you. That's it. That's what you think of me as a person? No, fuck that. I'm worth more than that. And if you want more than that, you got to go do it yourself. I don't have to pretend that I like these meetings. I don't have to pretend to care about this project. I don't have to pretend to care about these coworkers. I don't have to pretend anything. I can just say what I want, do what I want. And I get a lot of messages saying, Josh, that's not very professional. You know what? I don't have to be. Like, I don't need these companies. I don't need to work in these companies. Professionalism is just some bullshit way to be politically correct and beat around the bush and not say what you feel because people might get their feelings hurt or some shit. I don't need any of that anymore. I can be direct, I can be real. I've already blacklisted myself from this industry. I know no company wants to hire me, and great, I don't want to work for you anyways. I'm not saying that I won't work with you. I will partner with you and I will help you, and I am open to suggestions. I'm not an end-all, be-all, know-it-all type person here. I'm open to working with people, but I will not work for you. I'm the martyr for you guys. I am openly saying things that everyone is thinking, but no one will say in fear of never having a job again. If you see a CEO and you don't know he's a CEO at a grocery store, are you going to treat him with some form of reverence, like, oh man? Because if it's your CEO at your company, that's probably how you'd react. Probably out of fear, or probably because you want something out of him, or you want recognition, or you want something from someone. You want a confidence booster, or I don't know. I don't acknowledge that. I've removed that fear aspect because I don't need it. These CEOs and CTOs and executives of these big, huge corporations, they're just people like you and me, but somehow, as these companies get bigger, they get more conservative, and the employees start to put these people on pedestals. And it's like taboo to even think about talking to them. And that benefits them. Is what I'm doing risky? Yes, absolutely. Could YouTube collapse today or tomorrow? Yes, absolutely. Will I get demonetized one day? Maybe. Who knows? I don't put all my eggs in one basket. Am I the best at anything? Absolutely not. I'm not the best at anything that I do. I'm not the best at making video. I'm not the best at color correcting. I'm not the best at lighting. I'm not the best at speaking to the camera. I'm not even the best at writing these scripts to do these videos. Like, I'm not the best at anything I do. But what I am is hardworking and consistent and passionate about this shit. Because I just love it. I enjoy doing this. This is what I love to do. What am I doing really? I don't really know. But what I am doing is saying things that people are too afraid to say. This is too real, I guess. You know, I have plans. I have plans A, B, and C and stuff like that. But I've recognized that this might not work out. And it's a risky thing to do. But you know what? I wake up every day and I'm excited to do this. Even though sometimes I don't feel like it, I always, in here, I know that this is what I want. And I enjoy doing this. I get paid on my results. If my stuff performs well, hey, I did great. If I learn something, great. I learned something, I can use that, it's applicable. It doesn't mean that I have a skill that I can't transfer anymore. I learn what I need to. I make what I am worth by default. I get paid what I am worth right now, because if I were to do more, I would get paid more. Then I'd be worth more. I don't let anyone else decide things for me. Maybe I just seem like I'm a giant control freak and I'm just very bullheaded. And you know what? I am now. I wasn't like this. I wanted to be a people pleaser. I wanted to be a manager pleaser. I wanted to be everyone's best friend, and I wanted to be the best employee ever. I wanted to be the best worker and work my way up to the top and climb that corporate ladder so bad, until they just took that corporate ladder while I was climbing it and just pushed it over. Bye, Josh. Am I salty about these companies, and do I hate corporate BS? Yes, absolutely. They took everything that my family had, and they kept trying to take shit from me. And I will never, ever, ever do that again. I know that everything that I do for someone else is giving them a deal, and that's just profit by default, right? Buy low, sell high. I don't want to be part of that equation, okay? Yeah, I know right now technically I work for YouTube and I work for Google, and this is my channel and it's owned by them, so technically I'm working for them. And if you're a freelancer, you're technically working for your clients and your customers. I get it. Knowing what I know now, why would I ever take 10% of what I make now and do it your way? How to do it, be threatened, be fearful every day of, am I going to lose my job if I don't do XYZ? Do I need to do XYZ? Who do I have to impress today? I don't have to do any of that. I made $22,000 this month. In a month, that's somebody's, that's 6 months of some junior dev salary. I don't say that to flex. I don't say that to be all, look at me. I just say that like, I know how to do it myself. I didn't need anyone to get that. But at a certain point, it's not about the money. It's just about living a good life. And that's what I want for everybody that watches this channel. Go get a job. Go get a job, learn the skills. Do not get comfortable. Do it yourself. If the CEO of the company that you work at now were to just hand his company down, and he handed it to you, and you didn't make any changes to that company, and you ran that ship exactly the way it was running the day before it happened, stay at the company. If the CEO hands the company down to you, and you make all kinds of changes left and right, go do it yourself. You owe it to yourself to see that full potential. You will find full potential at this company, but you will not find full potential of what you can be. And I know this sounds kind of esoteric and it kind of sounds Tony Robbins, and I get that some people don't want it. And if you don't want it, this video is not for you. I'm not saying the channel's not for you. I'm happy to help you guys get jobs if you just want to be a worker. Great, go do that. If you try, you might fail. I failed a whole lot. I got like 500 something videos on YouTube and only 10 of them mattered. That's 500 failures. That's like Thomas Edison level. I just want everyone to be able to have that kind of flexibility. And I recognize for you philosophers out there that it is not possible for 100% of people to be entrepreneurs and for everyone to have their own company. That won't happen. And I'm well aware that everyone will not start their own company and try to do it themselves. I'm very aware. But for you guys that are watching this channel, you think I could do this? I just listened to like a couple books. I was walking my dogs down the street about a year ago, 8 months ago. I was listening to Gary V's Crushing It. He's like, if you build a brand, blah, 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 blah. And I listened to another book about unscripted, and it's like, do you accept what people say that your life is worth every day? And I was like, oh man, not really, no, that's kind of sucky. But now you know why I am the way that I am. I have been burned over and over and over, and I watched it happen to my family, and I watched it happen to friends, and there are some people that it never happens to. If I had a different experience starting off, when I first started my career, I'd be a probably happy-go-lucky employee again. You know, I'd be back to where I was. You go read my Medium articles where I'm like, I'm so excited to go to work, and I just want to code, and I'm working, and I'm gonna keep on hacking. I type those words. I'm gonna keep on hacking. It's not me anymore. It's not me anymore. I'm cynical, sure. Realist, sure. Are you an optimist or are you a pessimist? Are you a glass half full or a glass half empty type of guy? Josh, get out of the road. I got stuff to do. I don't want you guys to have to experience that. I don't want you guys to have to ever have to go through this. Always look out for you first. You gotta be your own mental point of origin first. You gotta help yourself. You cannot help other people until you help yourself. When you're in an airplane and the little airbags come down, you put it on your face first. The airline ladies tell you put your oxygen mask on first and then help other people. That's how you have to be in life. Do not feel bad for that. Do not feel salty for that. Do not feel... That's just my 2 cents. I'll see you guys in the next one.